My wife wanted to open our marriage. Now I have a new lover and she regrets everything. My wife and I have been together for a decade, married for 8 years. We met in college and we were each other's first and only. At one point, I believed that our relationship was one of a kind, something truly special. But now, as it stands, that belief seems to have been mostly mine. Things took a drastic turn when my wife started a new job. Initially, she struggled to fit in, as she's naturally reserved. But with my encouragement, she eventually bonded with a group of coworkers, some single, some divorced, some dating, but none married. At first, I was happy she was making friends, but then something shifted. She started going out drinking, staying out late, and partying more than usual. I became concerned, but I didn't want to restrict her. At the same time, it was hard to ignore the changes in her behavior, especially when it started affecting our intimacy. My wife, who had never been the one to initiate sex, became even more distant, often too tired or distracted when I tried to connect. It was hard not to notice that something was different, especially when she began talking about her new manager with an intensity that bordered on obsession. She often referenced how he handled situations, and I couldn't help but wonder if there was more to her fascination than just professional admiration. When she started questioning whether I regretted not having more experience with other women, I was blindsided. It was a conversation I hadn't seen coming. She even suggested that an open marriage might be a way to spice things up, something I never expected her to propose. At first, I rejected the idea outright, especially given her new admiration for her manager. But after much back and forth, and in a moment of misguided trust, I agreed. For the next year, she went on dates and had one-night stands. And as predictable as it seems now, she eventually started a full-blown relationship with that same manager. I, on the other hand, had a few dates, but I struggled with the idea of casual encounters. I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right, even though she assured me it was all part of the adventure. As I began to drift away from my wife emotionally, I found solace with someone else. I met a woman from South Korea who was everything I needed at that time. The intimacy I shared with her was unlike anything I'd experienced before. I felt truly seen and desired in a way that I hadn't in years. At first, my wife seemed supportive, almost amused by my new relationship, but as time passed, she began to question it. I reminded her that this was her idea, that she was already in a relationship with her manager, but she didn't have an answer. Her guilt began to show. She started making more of an effort to cook dinner, keep the house clean, and even initiate intimacy in our bedroom. But when we did have sex, it felt like a hollow gesture. Something had died inside me, and it was hard to ignore. When I asked her what had caused this sudden shift, she claimed it was her way of showing me that she loved me, but I couldn't help but laugh. How could she claim to love me when she had thrown it all away? She had been with her friends, with the manager, and with strangers, so what was left for us? The next day, she came to me tearfully declaring that she regretted everything. She wanted to close our marriage, undo the damage she'd caused. She told me she realized how foolish she had been, how she had been misled by her friends and her manager, and that our marriage was something truly special. She explained how everything started with her friends, who encouraged her to explore after spending so many years with just one person. When the manager came into the picture, he supported her desire for freedom, and it escalated into an emotional affair. Eventually, it became physical when we opened the marriage. She described it as an intoxicating thrill, but now she saw how destructive it had been. But it wasn't just the affair that shattered her, it was the realization that she had betrayed me for a fleeting, superficial excitement. When she heard the manager talking about her to a colleague, saying she was easy and that she was just a pleasant distraction, something in her snapped. She felt humiliated and disgusted with herself. Now she wants to fix everything, wants to go back to how things were, to start fresh. But I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can ever see her the same way again. I told her I needed time, but before I could even process everything, another bombshell dropped. One of her former friends, who had encouraged her to explore, was now in a fling with the manager. That friend had even faced a pregnancy scare, another reminder of how reckless all this had been. I've been staying in an apartment, and I've spoken with a divorce lawyer just to prepare for the worst. It's hard to fight for something when the trust is gone, and she can sense that I'm not as invested as I once was. Before I left, she tried to initiate intimacy again, but when I refused, she lashed out, asking, "What does your lover do for you that I can't?" The truth is, I don't have the answers anymore. My heart feels like it's closed off to her. And though she desperately wants to undo her mistakes, things don't work that way. Some things, once broken, can never be put back together.